Happy to announce today that both the federal government and the organized labor have agreed on an increase on the 62,000 naira minimum wage.
Join
Ayodeji Ajishope
and
Adedamola Lafenwa
on from the dailies every weekday from 9:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. on Solutions 93.9 FM as they dive into the headlines with in-depth analysis and feedback from you on different stories from the national dailies. Start your day by gaining fresh perspectives, uncovering the story behind the story, and join the conversation. Because your voice matters. From the dailies, the conversation never stops.
Okay, studio time check 935 on 939 Solutions FM. It feels so good to be back on the program this beautiful Monday morning, the 28th day in the month of April 2025. My name is Adedamola Lafenwa. The program is from the dailies where we get to take you through the front pages of our newspapers. And of course, I have comrade Ayodeji Ajishope right in the studio with me this beautiful Monday morning. A beautiful morning to you, comrade Ayodeji Ajishope.
Yes, a beautiful morning to you. When you said 28th of April, my mind raced. I said, wow.
Wow, April is gone again.
TikTok.
Says the time. I mean, we're just saying Happy New Month a few weeks ago, and here we are today. Thank God for the breath of life, for counting us worthy to be among the living. Like I always say. All right, looking at the papers this Monday morning, the papers are quite loaded. We're still having reactions from that massive political tsunami, as some people would like to call it, that occurred in Delta State on last week Wednesday. And even one of the papers termed it Hurricane Tinubu, which is sweeping across all political parties in the country. Now, let me take the account of the Punch newspaper now. It says defections. PDP calls emergency meeting to halt Hurricane Tinubu. And riders, Nigeria not drifting to one-party state presidency. APC welcomes Oberovori, others today. Looking further into the paper, I have this one saying Fitch upgrades Lagos, Kaduna, two other states investment rating. Okay, U.S. report calls out Nigeria's trade barriers, port corruption. Another one, I have this one saying Ondo doctor, others face charges over abortion for 10-year-old victim.
10-year-old?
This is really absurd. 10-year-old victim. Okay. FG targets 70% local pharmaceutical production. Away from the Punch newspaper, let me take a look at the Vanguard newspaper. And the biggest story says, Tinubu to opposition, don't blame me for inability to manage your affairs, says democracy not threatened in Nigeria. And still talking about defections, I saw this coming. Because before now, Omar Agege, from Delta State, the former deputy Senate president, had been the party leader in Delta State. But now that the governor has decamped or has defected to, I knew this was going to happen. Now, defections, Oberovori, Omar Agege battle for Delta APC leadership.
Well, we are operating an interesting setup. Since I remember it was in the days of the struggle for power in Oyo State that the leadership of the a party, there was this struggle in Oyo State. In the days of Ladoja, I remember very, very well. Who is the leader of the party? Babadidibu was posturing as the leader of the party. You understand? It was, like a powerful element. And then Ladoja went to Abuja, and then the story was that the leadership of the party had been handed over to him as the governor. The governors were now declared leaders. But lo and behold, the leader didn't have the support of Abuja. So anyway, theoretically, we have seen that the governors and the governors have learned a lot of lessons from that. So
now I remember on this program we played a clip from Segun Showunmi, a strong member of the PDP. He made mention of something. He said those people defecting from PDP, there are already leaders in the PDP. Now they are going to another party where they will have to go and queue up and jostle for the position of leadership, or to be recognized as a strong member of that new party. Is this not what is playing out now?
That is what it used
because
to
before
be.
now, Oborevori, being a Delta State governor and a PDP member then, was the leader of PDP in that party. Yeah. Now he's having to
Omar Agege was the leader in it because he was the most senior elected or appointed official. So he knows, everybody knows that does Omar Agege, even if he was still in the Senate, does he have the wherewithal and then
and the charisma?
Not even the charisma. Money talks.
Money talks. Yeah, he has that.
Money talks. Power talks. How much is he sitting on compared to the governor that is sitting on a monthly allocation of?
Let's just say trillions of naira.
Okay.
Let's just say trillions.
Because the governor that just left, they are pursuing him for 1.3 trillion.
Ifeanyi Okowa.
Yeah, 1.3 trillion scam.
Okay, now looking at the rider,
I guess are forgiven now.
Let's keep our fingers. According to Oshomole, once you move to the APC, your sins are forgiven. Let's see what the EFCC will do concerning his case. But looking at the rider, ex-deputy Senate president insists he is party leader. Delta governor, my leader, Keyamo. And Shetima Ganduje, 10 governors receive Oborevori Okowa today.
They are just jostling to have a piece of the action. Okay, what do you want? They will go to him. Let's destroy. Okay, what do you want?
They will negotiate.
I want to return to the Senate. Okay, give him the Senate ticket.
Okay, let's move away. Let's move on that. Okay, we must resist one-party state agenda. Akinola, Odinkalu, Jinadu, others.
Okay,
page
bye,
10.
Akinola.
Akinola. Thank you, Richard Akinola. It is found on page 10 of the Vanguard newspaper. And still looking at the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, outrage over World Bank's report on poverty in Nigeria as CSOs demand urgent actions. The World Bank had predicted that more Nigerians will slide into poverty level till 2027.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep our fingers crossed. Moving away from that, let's take a quick look at the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. Now, looking at the cap headline, one of the cap headlines on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, it says, Naxima, OPS, that is organized private sector, worry over World Bank's 50% poverty projection for 2027. 2027 offers short-term measures to reverse trend. Okay, away from that, let me see another interesting topic here. Tinubu's government making efforts to dismantle democratic foundations. Odinkalu, Ojudu, Jinadu, 15 others won. And the riders won against country's march towards one-party state. We didn't fight to end military dictatorship, only to enthrone civilian authoritarianism, they say. And the last rider, Tinubu not building one-party state presidency. Okay, 50 billion naira earned allowance. We didn't rely on money released on paper. As it was in the papers last week that the federal government released a huge amount of money.
Yeah, you can release, but what about the cash backing?
Now they say that it is just on paper.
Yeah, that's why it is on paper. The release is on paper because it requires a cash backing.
Okay, and the last headline on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, IMF's 37% inflation projection. LCCI expresses
37%.
37% inflation
for Nigeria.
Yes.
I thought what do you call them? The federal government is saying they're going to 15.
Wale Edo and Cardoso.
They are going
So
to
they
15.
They are going to 15.
So what statistics is IMF working with, and what statistics is the federal government working with?
And that raises
That
concern.
one gets 15, the other gets 37.
That raises concern. That's why LCI expresses concern. Says nation's economy vulnerable to external shocks. Page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune. I tell you, the papers are loaded this morning. On the front page of the Guardian newspaper, NLC cancels May Day celebrations in Rivers, Edo. Page 8 of the Guardian has that story. And Nigeria won't be great without Agric, says Afe Babalola. Don't don military attire. Army urges Nigerians. We'll talk about this in the course of the program. And this is the biggest story on the front page of The Guardian. Solar panel import ban may trigger 150% price surge, worsen energy cost crisis. Page 6. Tompolo endorses Tinubu for second term, says Fubara will return. And this is coming from EFCC. No cash above $10,000 must leave Nigeria without declaration, EFCC warns. Presidency, civil society clash over Tinubu's alleged one-party state agenda. And this is coming from the security angle. Over 80 northern communities under ISWAP control, says group. We'll need to talk about this. And another one, Fulani herders get 48-hour ultimatum to leave Benue community. And the very last newspaper I have before me, that is the Nation newspaper. I'll just take one story on the front page. It says, Shetima Ganduje governors to receive Obobovori into APC. And the riders, Delta Agog for big political event of the year in Asaba. Okowa, PDP leaders move en masse. It's a 9:45 on from the Dailies on Solutions 93.9 FM. So, Comrade Ayodije Shokwe, let me move to you now. I would like to take the account of the Vanguard newspaper this morning, because many accusing fingers have been pointed to the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, saying that his government is trying to tilt Nigeria into a one-party system. And according to this one, it says, Tinubu to opposition, don't blame me for inability to manage your affairs. And looking at another headline on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, we didn't fight to end military dictatorship, only to enthrone civilian authoritarianism, they say, talking about Odin Kalu, Akinola, Ojudu, Jinodu, and others. All these reactions.
Well, it is important that, the watchdog of society, the media, Nigeria, you do see what the media is saying, Hurricane Tinubu.
Hurricane Tinubu, yes.
Rather than playing the watchdog, rather than playing the fourth estate of the realm, we are getting some sensational headlines, Hurricane Tinubu. And some people in the villa will be saying, yes, hurry. And then the president is going to say Hurricane Tinubu, all this psychophantic stuff. But I dare say that Nigeria, because of the plurality, the multidimensional plurality that we enjoy, I will call it we enjoy in Nigeria, I dare say that it's going to be a very, very difficult journey for anyone to take Nigeria on a one-party state trip. It is going to be very difficult.
But doesn't it look like it? I mean, looking at the disarray in the major opposition parties now,
So
looking
what
at
is
the look at the NNPP now. NNPP is in disarray. The Labour Party, as at this morning, has a 3 chairmen.
It is
to
all
1 seat.
and PDP.
And PDP too.
Yeah. Now, just look at those parties.
I don't think we've never had it this worse. That this government, this APC government, as we can say, has never really experienced any major criticism from the opposition, like the APC played when it was in the opposition.
Yeah, but look at those parties that you're pointing at. Labour, for instance. I've always told you that the only thing that, pulled those forces together, disparate forces, the Obi himself, the Obedience, then the toll gate, the post, what do you call them?
Lekki toll gate.
The post Lekki toll gate people, that is the
NSAS,
youth,
movement.
the NSAS, that is the youth segment of the Obedience. Then you have this big tent, and then you had the original Labour Party itself. So disparate forces, and then there was a religious factor. You understand? So those disparate forces coalesced under Obi. Obi was just symbolic. You know, Obi was just one person that, okay, this one looks like somebody we can rally around. So when that mission accomplished or not ended, when that mission ended, accomplished or not, everybody went their way.
Okay.
It's as simple as that. So the internal dynamics, people are thinking it is Labour Party that garnered the 6 million votes. No.
But what you just said is for the Labour Party.
That's Labour Party.
What about the NNPP?
What about the NNPP? People saw Rabi Musa Kwankwanso as a rallying force. Those who could not work, you know, in Nigeria, if you cannot work with A, you go and join B. That's your option. Not because you have or share, you know, ideas or philosophies in common with that person. It is simply because you cannot work with A and B is the next available, viable option. You go and work with him. And when you don't get what you didn't get from A, and you don't get it from B too, then you start navigating your way back to A, where you came from. And then you'll be branded as, those are the people that worked with B that made him succeed. So you get some relevance.
Okay.
Then the PDP. Just look at, the case of PDP is patently clear. The internal dynamics of the party. People who do not think of party, the issue in PDP is personal ambition. Of not just Atiku. You understand? Not just Atiku. It is easy for us to say Atiku is the problem. But beyond Atiku, what about characters like, what do you call him, Wiki?
Nathan Wike.
And he got some people on board, including the governor of Oyo State. And then they did so much damage to the PDP. And the PDP governors, in 2022, they were the ones that held a summit and said that whoever emerged as the presidential candidate of the PDP must choose his deputy from the forum of PDP governors. That was why Obi left PDP. Single major reason. The guy just took a flight. Then, no chance for me here. And some forces were already coalescing, and Obi was already imagining. You know, Obi was going about and quoting figures and talking China, Hong Kong, and all of that.
Giving statistics.
Giving statistics that were found not to be so valid at all times.
But he kept on saying you can verify. You can go and verify.
He was in China, Hong Kong.
Go and verify.
And people saw, for disparate forces coalesced around him. He wasn't looking like others, and he was looking like he was, was talking like what he knew what he was talking about. But the day he was asked about his plan about defense and security, he said he had the plan in his head. I said, what is the plan? He said, no, the plan is in his head. He couldn't even give us a sketch.
No, probably he didn't want his style to be stolen.
You give a sketch. And the moment you say it, everybody knows it is original to you. Anybody that says anything similar, that
was the idea.
You are copying Obi.
Obi's idea.
So, and then a president that cannot handle security. So what was he going to handle? Security is the primary. So these are the issues.
But you know, in all this, there have been accusations being channeled to the president saying that he's maybe the APC has planted the kind of a mole in these political parties to cause disarray in them.
It is the same playbook.
It is the same play.
But it is just with a little modification.
Now, with all the reactions coming from people saying that Dele Momodu said his own, Akinola said his own, saying that the government is turning into a one-party state. There's a reaction coming from the presidency, that is Bayo Ononuga. On Sunday, he released a statement. I would like to read it in one of the papers now.
Please read it.
But in a statement issued on Sunday, Bayo Ononuga, media aide to the president, said, the allegations that Tinubu is promoting a one-party state are false, baseless, exaggerated. Ononuga said the presidency has no official policy designed to weaken opposition parties, as been claimed in some quarters. The presidential spokesman said it is not the responsibility of the president to strengthen or organize opposition parties. Ononuga said those who are criticizing the recent defections did not raise any question when some politicians are forming a coalition to unseat the president in 2027. He added that the democracy is not in danger because politicians are exercising their rights to freedom of association. Contrary to the false claims, I want to quote now, in the propaganda materials in circulation across the mainstream and social media, democracy is not under any threat in Nigeria. The statement reads, accusations that the administration is moving towards authoritarianism are baseless and exaggerated. We must add that no policy, official action, or directive from the presidency seeks to dismantle democracy or weaken opposition or create a one-party state. By Ononuga's statement released yesterday.
He then went ahead and descended heavily on.
Yeah, I did. I just decided to skip that. Okay.
I think you should read some.
Okay, let me read some. Okay, accusations of bribery, blackmail, and the weaponization of state institutions only exist in the idle minds of politicians and their agents who have failed in their assigned role of opposition and are fishing for scapegoats. The opposition cannot blame President Tinubu and the governing APC for their poor organization, indiscipline, and gross incompetence in managing their affairs. It is certainly not part of President Tinubu's job to organize or strengthen opposition parties. We find it curious that those who celebrated the defection of the former governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasiru El-Rufai, to the Social Democratic Party, SDP, and the formation of a regional grand coalition with the sole aim of defeating President Tinubu in 2027 election are the same people shedding crocodile tears over Nigeria's so-called drift to a one-party state and authoritarianism. I mean, there are laughable things here. It's so lengthy, which because of our time,
Yeah.
I don't want to read all.
There is a portion of it you specifically mentioned some people, emergency, pro-democracy group, people and all of that, and call themselves red. You see, it is I don't have any fear, really, of a one-party state, because these are people that stand for nothing, you know. They don't stand for it. Look, if Ebola Ahmed Tinubu, who has been touted all these years as a progressive, will lie in bed with an ultra-conservative of Muhammadu Buhari's brand, then they don't stand for Jack.
Now, comrade, we understand now that these opposition parties are in disarray because they have internal crises rocking their different parties at different levels now. But the question now is, what is that enticing thing in the APC that is now making APC the beautiful bride that everyone is running to? Because a few minutes ago, I spoke with the APC scribe, that's the Oyo State Secretary of the APC, that is Alhaji Olawale Shadari. I spoke with him earlier this morning, hoping that I will bring him on board today, but he told me that by Wednesday, it will be on the program. Because I wanted to ask him, I told him the Nigerians want to know, why is APC, which the party that every Nigerian has raised accusing fingers at, that saying they have brought hardship to the country, is now the beautiful bride that all these other politicians are running to.
Dabola, the aroma of power. Maybe you hear that they say some people are in the corridors of power. Even those who are in the corridor of power, they get intoxicated by the aroma flowing from the main chamber of power itself to the corridor. People in the corridor of power are getting intoxicated with power. So what's going to happen to those who are in the main chamber of power, where power itself is being dispensed?
Do we now say these politicians defecting to the APC are being motivated by their personal greed?
Nothing else but fulfillment of personal desire. Nothing else.
Remember, but the judge said something about that too last week on the program.
It is issue, no?
Said it is motivated by nothing but greed.
It is issue, no? Because the PDP did the same thing. I mean, it's the same playbook. I will never forget the cohesive AG held in 2003. Was it 2002? Late 2002 or very early 2003. Held two parallel conventions in Abuja. I couldn't believe it. Cohesive. it became a divided house. And if that could happen to a regional-based party like AD, purportedly cohesive, I mean, also NPP, they became a NPP, and even Buhari left. When Buhari saw that the fingers, the PDP finger was rocking in his party, he quickly jumped, both went to went to CPC. That was when he formed the CPC. You understand? Because he saw that he was not going to be in total control of the party. So he went to form his own party. So that is just it. It is about nothing about the Nigerian state, nothing about the Nigerian.
Because another concern is the fact that there are members of the APC, strong members of the APC, that are already criticizing the APC itself under Bola Ahmed Tinubu for not doing up to expectations.
Well,
one of the reasons that led to the defection of Nasir El-Rufai leaving the party. And I have another statement from
if Nasir El-Rufai had been made a minister of power, would he have done that?
Okay, this is I have this man, Saliu Lukman, former national vice chairman of the APC.
Where is he now?
Well, he had this to say concerning Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. Let's take a listen. This is Saliu Lukman, former national vice chairman of the APC, and still a member of the APC actually, but he's saying this.
As far back as July 2023, when I saw the direction after the subsidy is gone, declaration, and then the exchange rate, I wrote an open letter to Asuwaju where I talk of disturbing signals. I don't hide my feeling. And the disturbing, why there were disturbing signals, was that critical decisions were taken without any clearly spelled out plan on how to manage the consequences of those decisions and convert them to advantages for the people and for the country. And we are on a roller coaster. I have said that severally. Because as far as I can see now, he's in denial. He beat his chest and people in government beat their chest. He is courageous. He has taken wonderful decisions. What is wonderful decision about withdrawing subsidy and floating the exchange rate without a clearly visible economic plan that will guarantee production activity in the country and ensure that people are earning better livelihood? Now, for me, I waited up to around July last year before I declared that no. Because I found out that he has insulated himself. Even within the party, nobody is having access to him. You know, and that is not the kind of progressive leader I thought he is. And by my own estimation, I have said so several times, that was not the way he ran Lagos.
Certainly.
I have said that several times.
Certainly.
Now, for you to even expect anything wonderful to happen before May 2027, I will say you are a dreamer. I will wish you luck in your dream. But if it happens, it will be a pleasant surprise.
Certainly.
For me, I have reached the conclusion, I don't think anything good is going to come out, and which is why we have to start organizing. I am optimistic, I have said so. This country can be fixed in our lifetime. And I pray to God
and that's what
to give us the strength and the courage to engage our leaders. Our leaders are human beings.
Absolutely.
My argument, which drive me to keep engaging leaders, is that being human, they also need support. They need people to guide them. They need strong guidance. If left alone, they'll continue to make the same mistakes.
Okay, there, the voice of Saliu Lukman, a former national vice chairman of the APC. Now, he's not the only one who has spoken about this. We've had Rotimi Amechi, who is also a strong member of the APC. We've had Tunde Bakare, a strong member of the APC. We have El-Rufai. So if people, strong members of the APC, have come out to say that, okay, this government is not doing well, what is now prompting all those people to now say, okay, that's the last option?
The fact is, all these people that you see, these gentleman, Tunde Bakari, El Rufai, Amici, you know that they are, Fayemi, you know there
Yeah,
are people
Fayemi too.
who lost out.
Lost out of what?
All of the power game. If Fayemi had been made Foreign Affairs Minister, which was his sole and singular ambition, even beyond being a governor, will you hear him say this? No, he won't. He will say Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a revolutionary. He will even call him a
Well,
revolutionary.
can we look? Can we look beyond the fact that probably they are sulking from falling out? Let's talk about the points they are raising. Are they true about this
Valid,
government? Are they
valid.
valid points?
They are always valid points.
So I want us to look beyond the sentiment of maybe it's because they lost out of.
Yes, I mean,
power.
some of them, they are saying this because when, what do you call that one? Buhari was in office. Did you hear a whimper from Amechi? Was he not praising? And he turned around to rain invectives on that same Buhari. People should not sell us. Nigerians should think of when we're listening to politicians. We should think. We should remember. You see, I think there's this problem of collective amnesia in Nigeria. And Nigerians, collective amnesia. People who tormented us yesterday, they are coming again very, very soon. And they have started. And they will be saying, Rankadede, Kabiesi, and Igwe to them. We should, you know, I've always told you, since about 2022, that we have to organize ourselves. And you say, you organize ourselves. I say, organize ourselves in you know, in community, in neighborhoods, and just like that man said, our leaders are human
Beings.
We have to engage them. Let me tell you,
We have to put them in check.
we have to engage them. You see, I have been privileged to be around people who have occupied public office, including high public office. I have seen that people confuse the office and the man, and I mean the occupiers of that office. A governor walks into a place, everybody stands up. He thinks he's the one that is being honored. He's not the one. He's not the one. He's not. He said, he wants to call somebody.
We will tell them that people standing up is not for him as an individual.
He wants to call somebody. He doesn't remember them. He say, 10 people rush towards him. You understand? I mean, height of psychophancy. Olalajulo. What nonsense is that? His Excellency. Excellency is executive governor. It is not anywhere. Executive president. No, it is not anywhere in Nigeria's constitution. One day I told one media aide to a governor, I can never forget what happened. I said, why don't you tell this man? He said, He said, no, you know, let the man lost a roof. I said, And these are, I mean, these are people who are working with him, who are supposed to be working with him closely and keeping him informed. You know, I don't know this thing they say in Tafeja. I don't know what they want to eat.
Oh, okay.
But that is just it. You are living in the villa. You have an apartment in the villa. Then you want to go and tell the president that, Oga, and then you want to be fired. You know, people want. It's like you are stripped naked.
Comrade, you and I know that there are more defections coming.
People are gravitating. Look, the argument is this: behind the scenes, Tinubu in 2022, he get crashed his way into grabbing the party ticket. He told the sitting president that he said Emilokan, it is my turn. When we were having the an aspirant, it was candidate. Before he became a candidate, an aspirant, he said Emilokan. When he became a candidate, he said that was daredevilry. You know? And that man, his party was against him. The presidency was hatching their own plan, which they could not implement. You understand? And that man now has the sword. But, in this Southwest, I saw a governor who won election with little resources, you know. And when he became governor and he was seeking re-election, he was taken around to assess what I call the arsenal for election. And he said, he lost the election.
woefully. Okay.
So if you think you are standing,
All right, it's 8 minutes past 10 on Solutions 93.9 FM. I'd like us to take one more reaction from this defection. This is coming from Kenneth Okonkwo, formerly of the Labour Party, because he resigned.
He's hanging. Now, where is he now?
He's hanging now.
He's hanging. And
He's
where
hanging.
is he gravitating
Now,
towards?
he
He's
said
gravitating towards
he made one big statement on a live television program with them, Shimo Kimbaloye, where he said that those people defecting from one party to the APC are doing so because they know that going there is an assurance of their winning their re-election. Let's take a listen at Kenneth Okonkwo.
Of joining another political party, and precisely the ruling party, is simply because of the belief that in 2027 they are going to write the results of election. Nothing else. I mean, it's an absurdity that people will see a sinking house and they are running into it for shelter.
Well, which one is the sinking house now?
APC, obviously.
Why is it a sinking house?
The World Bank report made it clear that Nigerians are going to be poorer till 2027. Have you asked yourself why they stopped at 2027? Because they know that this country is a blessed country. On the day they have very good leader, poverty will dry up. So they have given up on Tinubu's regime, that it's a government that will afflict Nigerians with hunger and hardship until it ends.
The millions who voted Tinubu think he's the best leader.
Well, the millions you're talking about, is it the million that was written or the million that came from where?
Was the election result
Have you seen?
Was it written?
Have you seen the polling unit by polling unit results from INEC for the 2023 presidential election? If you have seen, show me. That's what the law says in section 62(2)(3) of the Electoral Act. That after the election, INEC should post in its electronic server the polling unit by polling unit results of all the results of the election after it was technically glitched. Have you seen any of such results?
Now, look at the angle Kenneth Okonkwo is coming in on this defection, massive defection taking place.
Yeah. You see, there are some things you are not ever likely to catch me. You know, all this saying, all this stuff that they are going to write the result. I don't think that is it's not a particularly nice thing
to say.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Because if you are asked to, back that up now, I mean, you see, I saw, of course, by the nature of our job, you see what happens on election day. I saw the agents of Labour Party. They were not. Labour did not have official agents in this Oyo state, officially nominated agents. They were just enthusiasts. You understand? Enthusiasts of the party. They didn't know what to do as agents because they were not trained. An agent, you will be trained.
Definitely.
So they were just enthusiasts. They just ensured the votes were counted, and they won. On my street, Nolume said, they won. And people were shocked. They said, look at, people were calling my attention. That even their children, the children were voting, but they were not trained. So they didn't know what they were supposed to do.
Or what not to do.
Yes, and what to do regarding, the results and all of that. So, they don't have, when they were called to produce evidence in court, were they able to? No, because they had no agents. At least from what I saw in Oyo State, they had no agents. They couldn't, because if you are not an agent, you will not be given a copy of the results, you understand? Agents will be given copies of the results. But if you are not an agent, can you demand for a copy of the results? You cannot, because you are not an agent, officially nominated agent of a party. So all these things, and you will recall that in the Supreme Court judgment, Supreme Court came down heavily on their lawyers, and in an unusual manner, you understand? Came down heavily on the lawyers and on the candidates, in language unusual of the Supreme Court. So, is it presidential election tribunal? Okay, presidential election tribunal. So, all these things, that's a lawyer, That man is a lawyer.
He is a lawyer.
I mean, people should not You go on a national, a global platform and start saying they're going to write a result. As if we are operating, a scam, a CBEX transaction. That's not nice. That's not nice. People are gravitating towards this. Now, politics is transactional in Nigeria. It is a transaction. It's not about the people. What can I get out of it? People are thinking, this is Nigeria. I take my own portion. Look, the thing that best describes Nigeria, and I've said it a couple of times, is Nigeria. The Nigerian state has been captured.
The Nigerian state has been captured.
Oh, I can say that over and over again.
Okay.
Everything that is representative of state.
Captured by who?
The elite.
The elite.
Not the political elite, the elite.
All right, it's 14 minutes past 10. Still on from the Daily Zone Solutions 93.9 FM. Let's go on this commercial break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
I am Malario, the king of malaria parasites. My mission is simple, to take over your body, to cause fever, chills, headache. But one thing stands in my way. Come on.
Effective relief from malaria. Comal on. Malaria gone. If symptoms persist after 3 days, consult doctor.
True strength. What defines it? The brilliance of a player, or when a team comes together to win. A solo beat, or the rhythm of many. The flair of one dancer, or the art of a troupe. One distinct voice, or the beauty of the symphony. At FCMB Group, we build ecosystems, empower communities, and create the future. Because we believe it's not just one, but the power of the group that delivers the future we all desire. FCMB, the power of the group.
Law and order are essential goals of good governance in a civilized society. It is illegal and immoral to take the law into our own hands. Why take a life we cannot create? Violence, jungle justice, and mob actions are not solutions. We must stop now. Nothing justifies taking the law into our own hands. We must follow due process, report, hand over suspects to law enforcement agencies. They are established to enforce the law and ensure offenders are held accountable. Our justice system is active and working. The government remains committed in tracking down offenders and ensuring justice is served. Mob violence is never the solution. Stay alert, speak up, uphold the law. We are civilized people in Nigeria. Together, let's stand for peace, for the law and order, and for justice. Say no to mob action and jungle justice.
This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
All right, it's 10:18 on Solutions and 93.9 FM. It's from the dailies, and we are looking at the front page stories on the papers this morning. We've talked so much about the defection and stuff like that, but Comrade Adeja Shokpe, you raised in one of your comments, you talked about the disarray in some of these political parties.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's take PDP as an example. Now, PDP on the papers this morning, I think on Punch newspaper, it has called for emergency meeting to stop this defection. And now, looking at the PDP critically, there are people who say that the PDP seems to be weak in the sense that there are people that are engaging in gross anti-party activities up till now, but the PDP is not doing anything. And I have a lengthy, a bit lengthy statement from one of the members of the House of Reps on the PDP, is Ikenga Ogochinyere. He said this, he's trying to urge the NWC of the PDP to take decisive action on those people who he said they are political merchants using the party to transact personal business. Let's take a listen at Honorable Ikenga Ogochinyere.
Our governors are jumping ship. Our lawmakers are jumping ship. Our senators are jumping ship. Our members are jumping ship in different parts of the country. But once you think about it, we may blame outsiders or those who have decided to work with APC. But what about ourselves, our governors? What did the governors do categorically to resolve this problem? When IU was removed, the right thing to have been done was to convene a NEC meeting and find a replacement from North Central. When the time for NEC come, our governors will say it is Salah. Muslim people are traveling, they shift it. When they come back, they say again it is Easter. When they come back again, they say it is Christmas. When they come back again, they say it's Umrah that people have traveled to Saudi Arabia. When they come back again, they say it is public holiday. Is this not a shameful behavior? Now, for 2 years, the leaders of this party could not find a solution to the problem. For 2 good years, because they have decided to sabotage the same platform that gave them whatever they have today. Yes, sir. 2 good years, Damago have stayed with Daniel to carry out a very simple task, which is to decimate the party. And this thing that I saw Damago say, that our faith is in God's hands. That is rubbish and arrant statement nonsense. Damago, why are you bringing God into this? How can our faith be in God's hands? Where was God when you refused to allow a NEC meeting for North Central to appoint an acting replacement? Yes, sir. Where was God when you kept on shifting it? Where was God when you filed matter in court against our own PDP in support of those lawmakers who defected from PDP to APC in Rivers State, which led us to the crisis of emergency today in Rivers? Where was God when you decided to give party structures to members of the APC? Where was God when you kept on supporting the lives of Dalon Bidem and all those other traitorous elements that were hell-bent on destroying the party? You now talk about our faith in God's hands. But you gave me the permission to join the APC government while remaining in PDP. You are the one that is encouraging them both in debt and everywhere to the camp. And you open your mouth and say, our faith is in God's hand. And you are still sitting in a position that you have no legal right to be sitting. You're a very wicked man. And it's on this point I want to alert our party members that Damagu and Anyang has once again perfected a new plot to ensure that the next meeting of May to ratify these issues does not hold. They also perfected a plot to ensure that the August convention is aborted if they will not be the ones to be re-elected. I need to give our party members information that they have perfected a plan, a very ridiculous one and insulting, to re-elect Omadamagu and Anyanwu as officers of the party in August. Where that is not possible and where they cannot get a stool, they will ensure that the convention is aborted. This is so painful. And I must also inform you that I want to confirm that 40 lawmakers elected on the platform of the party is going to decamp from the party in the coming weeks. Look at the state we are today. Lawmakers decamping in mass. Governors decamping in mass. Two extra governors about to decamp, I can confirm to you today. And Damagu is still sitting and saying that our fate is in God's hands. Let me call on the members of the end of this. That the whole world is watching them. And if they want to be taken serious, two critical things must be done. One, the unconditional expulsion of Samuel Anyanwu and Nyesom Wike from the party. Are we cowards? No. Yeah. This is the demand of stakeholders of the party. Nobody in Nigeria can take the party serious. If ordinary expulsion of those who have committed to kill the party cannot be carried out by the NWC, those who want the right thing to be done in the NWC are in majority. Come and an NWC meeting, with or without Damagu, and carry out this action. Yes, it will be turbulent at the initial stage, but we will survive it rather than allow them to stay and carry out the final destination of the party.
Okay, the voice of Honorable Ikenga Michael Ogo Chinyere, representing Idiato Federal Constituency of Imo State at the House of Reps in Abuja. I mean, he's a young man born in 1982, in August, I think August the 3rd, 1982 to be precise. I mean, a vibrant young man there. Look at what he said, addressing the National Working Committee of the PDP, calling them weak. That if they are not weak, they are opening their eyes and seeing the growth of the excesses of Wike, and you are still unable to put him in check. That nobody would take the PDP serious if all these things continue. And he made mention of there are 2 more governors about to decamp. There are 40 lawmakers across the nation who are going to decamp. What do you make out of this?
In the years ahead, not too far from now, a dissertation has to be written, or several dissertations will be written on political shenanigans in Nigeria, with a special focus on from the era of impunity of Obasanjo, President Obasanjo, to this spectacular years that we have seen of the PDP. It is very sad. It is very sad that a party like the PDP could be held, can be a vice hold grip
by the jugglers.
By the jugular.
By an individual.
By an individual. It is Wike alone.
It is worrisome.
And you know, a person of Abubakar Atiku's caliber could have committed that political blunder of overlooking a person like Wike. These are the consequences. And him not backing off, and behaving like an elder statesman they are wont to call themselves. But mark my words, this will continue. There's no stopping the destruction of PDP as it is now.
Until
Bola Ahmed Tinubu wins the second term, and then people are waiting on the wings. The likes of Olushola what is called Saraki, Bukola Saraki, they're waiting on the wings. They're going to be the inheritors of the party.
Let's break this down before we wrap up things. Okay, Wike is working with the APC government. Wike, Damagun, the national chairman of the PDP, has the full backing of Wike. Let me just say,
and the National Working Committee.
And the National Working Committee.
So when the man says they are weak, no, they are not weak.
Will anyone ever take PDP seriously?
No. The PDP that will emerge,
because it seems the person that has the remote control of a PDP is working for Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and he has campaigned
the PDP
many occasions talking about Wike that he will work for Tinubu.
I'm not looking at PDP anymore. I'm looking at PDP around 2027. That's when this election will take place. I'm looking at PDP around 2029. when the likes of Saraki, who are on the wings, and taking position already, surreptitiously, will be the inheritors of PDP. And they will gather some other people. And then, this APC itself will self-destruct. Mark my, it's a cycle. History often repeats itself.
Most definitely.
History goes around in cycles. APC would destruct in a manner more spectacular than the PDP.
And I remember somebody once said on a live TV that it is the same people that are rushing into the APC now that will cause the break.
Look, it is the same
in the
playbook.
APC.
And what is it? When Tinubu is done, Buhari did his own. Tinubu did, assuming he does 8 years.
Okay.
It will be the same 16-year cycle that PDP did. And everybody will not turn around when they form a new party or a new force emerges. It might not be PDP, it might be even the SDP, you understand? And then, or any other force that people will coalesce around. And it will be another set of disparate forces, just like the APC. Because the only thing is, it will now be, this one is get Tinubu out. The next one will be get APC out. You understand? The next one will be get APC out. When they fail to get Tinubu out, it will now be get APC out. Everybody will now coalesce. That will be 2030. Everybody will now coalesce around that force. It will now be get APC out. And then even people from APC with who are seeing ahead quickly, they will jump you. And then,
the analogy you just give now reminds me of this Bob Marley song, "Natural Mystic Going Through the Air." That means
the natural mystic going in the air.
It's still coming back.
It is
the
same
cycle.
and it will be a 16-year cycle.
Okay. All right, comrade, thank you very much for being a part. I would have loved us to talk about this story. It's a security issue on the Vanguard newspaper saying that 80 communities under the control of ISWAP.
It is
80 communities.
I think when we talk about that on Wednesday, we'll bring in a security expert
Okay.
who has been engaging me in the past 1 week or thereabout.
Okay, all right. Once again, I say thank you very much, Comrade Iwa Eda for being a part of the program this morning.
My pleasure riding with you, and thank you for the platform.
All right, thank you very much for staying tuned, our esteemed listener. That's the wrap for today. We'll be back again tomorrow morning for a fresh edition of From the Dailies on your Super Dial, Solutions and 93.9 FM. My name is Adedamola Lafenwa. Let's go out there and make it a money-making Monday. Good morning once again.
The views and opinions expressed in this live broadcast are those of the participants and do not